Good morning, everyone. So my name is Laurie Rey. I'm in charge of Expert Biome, which is our CDMO activity within Lallemand. And I will be presenting with Sylvie. She will be joining me soon. So she is our head of research and development. So she's our vice president within Lallemand Solutions. So the aim of the presentation today is really to give you some insights about how we can support you in terms of development and production of your own proprietary strains. And we will do also a strong focus on our expertise in research and development. So before going into the core of the presentation, I want to say a few words about Lallemand. So Lallemand is one of the global leaders in terms of research, development, production and marketing of microorganisms, including yeast, bacteria and fungi, as well as their derivatives. So Lallemand is a family-owned company of more than 5,500 employees, and we have roughly 50 plants all over the world. And as you can see here, we are dealing with several fields of application, including bakery, food and beverage, animal nutrition, but also plant care, and Lallemand and health solutions. So within Lallemand Solutions, our vision is really to lead the probiotic industry forward for the health, for human health. So to do so, we have developed a pipeline, let's say a portfolio of more than 40 proprietary strains, and we are distributing more than 600 formulas all over the world, mainly to target the health supplements market, but also for nutri-cosmetics and for food probiotics. But Lallemand Solutions, it's also more than 600 employees and more than 90 years of know-how. So we are really within Expert Biome, which is our CDMO activity, we are really leverage all the assets of Lallemand Health Solutions in order to support you in terms of creation of next generation of probiotics, so to target the health supplements market, but also live biotherapeutics products. And to do so, we are leveraging three main pillars. So the first one is our robust research and development expertise, especially in next generation strain, which is what we will be presenting today. But the second pillar is our state-of-the-art GMP pharma production capabilities. And we also have a very strong experienced regulatory and compliance team. So I will leave Sylvie presenting you our first pillar, which is our robust R&D expertise.
So thank you, Laurie. So I will present our R&D group, which is today a complete R&D integrated research group. And you can see that we have different type of platforms. So the idea is to have two locations between France and Canada. And so we have what we call a preclinical. So it's a more discovery platform and clinical platform. So that one are located in Canada. And we have a bioprocesses and galenic form platform, which are located in France. Clearly, I will say that our pipe is from the collections to the industrialization with everything linked to the demonstration. So the discovery platform in Canada is really mainly dedicated to the question on characterization of the strands, the new strands, but also everything's linked to the mechanism of action. So we have a lot of in-house model also in that platform with some C. elegans model with different type of phenotype, like the classical one, so the aging, but we have also on metabolism, a new one also on neurodegeneration and one also on metabolic disorders. We have a genomic platform, and we have also a lot of cell lines, include the new one coming from vaginal one, and we have also a lot of pathogens, meaning that in that platform we are able to understand firstly our strengths, to understand all the capabilities, but also to understand if we want to produce a high level of biomass, good quality, but also the functionality, we need really to understand the strength from genomic perspective, but also from phenotypical perspective, and also from mechanism of action. So we have a clear translational mode from, I would say, the discovery platform to the clinical one. The clinical one is really interesting because it's not so frequent that probiotics producers have also clinical insights. So we have a team of 6 people. So 1 director of clinical operations, 5 CSR, so clinical scientists. Today we are able to manage more than 32 clinicals, whatever the places in the world, with different type of clinicals. Could be classical ones, so ISS, but could be also clinical what we can have of customers, and sometimes also with universities. So these 2 platforms are really dedicated to demonstrate, accumulate science, and it's clearly with a mantra always on consolidate, confirm, and explorations. And after, when we do that, when we did that, we have to launch everything to the friends, in where we have the bioprocesses platform and also the galenic one. Basically, the idea is really to be able to produce high level of biomass, because after we will translate and industrialize to our factories, and we have the galenic form. That one is really also interesting because we integrate also a new model, which is a kind of semi-dynamic model for gastrointestinal resistance, because we need to understand how we have to protect the strands. Some strands don't need finally so much protections, but some strands need really a lot of protections. So this is a platform in where clearly, as I said, the spirit of collaborations. So today, 80 projects with these platforms with a split of 50-50, meaning that we have internal projects, but also a lot of projects with university and also with startups. So we develop also, I would say, the spirit of innovation, which is really important. And we have also 2 programs. So one is really important. I will explain. So that one is a microbiome program. It's clearly a transversal activities. It's like a space program that we developed in 2021. Clearly, the idea was to be able to define a kind of 3-step program. First idea was to say we need to develop us as a classical lactic acid bacteria, the famous first generations probiotics, to the next generation, so the new one, the one coming from the microbiome. And it was really important for us to develop capabilities, firstly from lab, but also on industrial perspective. So we developed a lot of capabilities on that. The second idea, the second level of the space program was to say that we need also to be, I would say, much more known on microbiome. So it was a kind of development of the microbiome footprint in where we develop also with a lot of experts outside, but also a lot of industrial players. This new association that we presented yesterday, so the European Microbiome Innovation for Health, because it's really key also on that moment that we push innovation on microbiome, because there is a reality of doing that. And our third level, which is clearly ongoing, was clearly to say that at the end for Lallemand, and it's key for CDMO and it's key also for our portfolio, is also to add discovery pipeline for the next generation. So we include also 2 strands which are clearly in a program to be able to be somewhere, firstly, demonstrate at clinical level, but also to be added in our portfolio. And we just mentioned also something which is really, really important. So we are 42 people. We have today more than 400 publications. We are, as I said, 32 clinicals which are ongoing. And which is what is really important. You can see that we have a lot of health territory that we are investigating, from the classical ones, the gut health, IBS, digestive comfort, but also a new one like women health, and also I will say the newcomers like skin health, and one also on healthy aging, which is really a key one that we will discuss also later and this afternoon with a lot of people on that perspective. So it's really R&D complete integrated organizations with different type of platform, with clearly a spirit of collaboration, not only inside but also outside. As I said, the first step of the microbiome program was really to be able to drive the next generation of the strains from the labs, from the collections to the industrialization. So it was key also to say that our ways to do things was a classical one, meaning that it's easy to make a cultivation on Bifido. It's clearly less easy to make the cultivation on Akkermansia, for example. So we develop a new spirit, but also a lot of new equipments to say that at the end we want to have a kind of I will say, the 3 questions development, toolbox to say when you want to develop a strength, we need firstly to know the safety aspect because it's key, and especially for the next generations. Antibiotics resistance, it's a key question for the next generations, but also to understand, I will say, the functionality with a lot of genomics evaluation and perspective, but also the ways that they are easy or not to handle and to produce. So it's a kind of really 3 question approaches, really combined, and we need for that also to develop genetics and genomic evaluations, but also everything's linked to the question of, I will say, the metabolic needs of the strains, because we know that on next generation we do have a lot of auxotrophies, which are really key to compensate when we want to produce the strains. And we also investigate and invest also on the next generation on the micro-fermenter capabilities, so the famous biolector, and especially the one which is really fully equipped for the next generations, meaning that you have the possibility to manipulate strains which are really not so easy with the oxygen behavior. As I said, new equipment, meaning that you need new space. So the idea also was to develop a new area of labs. So in last August, we inaugurate our new lab, so more than 800 square meters, clearly dedicated to question on innovations, not only, but clearly with a lot of, I would say, new equipment, new ideas, new ways to develop things, new combination of collaborations, and also clearly, I will say, a new mindsets to be able to I will say, manage all the question of the genomics, but also on the phenotypic. So it was really important to do that. You can see that you have a really nice next generations anaerobic chambers, which really help us to be able to say that we are really fully equipped to be a CDMO. So R&D here is really the keystone, I will say, the organization for the CDMO also. So to be microbiome ready, as I said, we launched this program with space investigation program on microbiome, launched in 2021. You can see that I was not alone, so you can see all the R&D team and department that are working all together. So now what we have today. So we have a complete toolbox, which is a kind of, I would say, fast and furious approaches, in where we are able, from a collection, a new strengths, really to, in less than 6 months, to be able, okay, we have knowledge on the strains, we know how to cultivate, we know what the strain is doing, we know that the strain, if the strain has some difficulties from some auxotrophies, and we know also all the safety things. So this is really, really important, and this complete toolbox is one of the big things, I would say, for the CDMO. The second thing, which is really important, we develop a know-how on key phyla, because next generation, there is the usual suspect, Akkermansia fecali, but it's not only that one. So we developed, the idea was really to select different phyla and to try to have a lot of reference type strengths to be able to develop our abilities. So we have a know-how now on Verrucomicrobia, but also on Clostridia bacteroides and the others. And we have clearly a clear expertise on more than 15 strains today with what we call the reference model. So to be able to say, we know how to cultivate Christensenella, we know how to cultivate the others. And we include also 3 candidates in our discovery pipeline, meaning that we also include them in our preclinical and also discovery platform. So the question was, and it's still the question, it is so hard to cultivate the next generation. Really? So I will say that we already overcome a lot of challenges, and especially on the question on concentrations, because it's still a question on probiotics, meaning that everyone wants to have high level of biomass. So it was really important also for us to be able to reach really high level of biomass. So we know how to do it now. We have also think about, because at the end we want to industrialize, we need also to say, when you have an exotic needs on your strain, it's really important to say that that need is also, you can feed that need at industrial level. In R&D is easy. But we need also to say that we need also this dialogue with industry just to be sure that we can use, for example, I don't know, some mucin, for example, for some strain, just to be able that we are able also to use and to have also a complete, I would say, the supply for the factory. So I think we already overcome a lot of challenge that we discovered during this so hard last 4 years, in where clearly we developed this new activity, this new microbiome. And there is still a question which is really important because we put some candidate in discovery, is clearly to say that obtaining regulatory approval is still a challenge and clearly a moving target, because what was true 2 years ago on question, for example, on antibiotic resistance, changed a little bit on the next generation. So it's really to say that we need to be always agile and hope that we demonstrate that we are agile.
So as Sylvie just mentioned, we are really applying leading-edge technologies and innovative scientific approach in order to accelerate the development of next-generation strains. So within Expert Biome, we are really able to provide a full range of services at research and development level. So for example, we start at cell bank establishment and verification. We can do also complete strain characterization, including genomics, metabolomics, and nutrient requirements. Based on that, we are going into process development, and we do the scale-up within the lab until the scale of 150 liters. We can also do formulation development and also analytical method development. So as Sylvie mentioned, we are also working with strict anaerobes, so we are able to deal with flow cytometry, with PMA-PCR, and also MALDI-TOF. So we have a toolkit in order to deal with analytical methods. We can also do a stability storage studies, and we can also provide some clinical trial support, especially on the design. So when R&D is over, we are moving to the plants. And what is really important to understand is that our plants are really vertically integrated, which means that we are able, within the plant, to do all the steps from working cell banks, and we do all the growth, the concentration, cryoprotection, grinding, blending. So we can stop here at pure powder, but we can also go till semi-finished products, including capsules, tablets, sticks, sachets. And then we can move to the finished product, which could be bottles, boxes, or blisters. And then we ship the product to our customers. So within our plants, we are able to do clinical batches, but also commercial batches. And we have scales ranging from 480 liters to 20 cubic meters. And we have in between to really support our partners all along the journey. Obviously, we have in-process controls and quality control at each production steps. All our plants, so we have 3 main plants, all of them are fully accredited and certified in order to target the health supplements market. And we are also leveraging some certifications, so pharmaceutical certification coming through Health Canada and also ANSM for Europe. And the last pillar that we leverage within Expert Biome is our experienced regulatory and compliance team. So this team is really in direct communication with all health authorities around the world, and we also have a long track record in terms of approval. So for example, we have more than 20 APA and drugs registrations and more than 200 food registration. And we also have claims, especially in Canada, with more than 40 claims in Canada. So based on all this experience, we are able to provide some regulatory support, especially on the regulatory strategy, but also on the compliance assessments, both at the ingredient levels and formula levels. We can also review clinical trials in order to be sure that they will meet the specification of the health authorities. And obviously, we can write dossier and master file and also facilitate the interactions with health authorities. I would say that our ways of working are really pragmatic. So we have a step-by-step approach. We have several types of partners. So some of them come really at early stage. They have only isolated the strain, but they don't know anything about the strain or about the process. So in this case, we really start at the real beginning, and we do all the R&D steps and doing scale-up step by step. But we also have some partners coming with a process that have been developed until the scale of 100 liters, 1,000 liters. And so in that case, we do tech transfer in order to check that we are able to reproduce the same performances or even get better performances. And then we move quickly to production. And all along these steps, we can support you in terms of regulatory matters. So where we stand so far, Sylvie gave some examples of what we've done internally, and I will give you some examples of what we've done within Expert Biome, so we have our partners. So our sales are really all around the world. So we are working with America. So 45% of our sales are in America, 30% in Europe, and 25% in Asia. In terms of strains that we have in our pipeline within Expert Biome, it's still mainly on, I would say, classical strain, with 65% of our pipeline in classical strains. But the part of next generation strain is increasing every year, and we are up to 35% right now. As Sylvie mentioned, we are also targeting several fields of application, and it's also the case within Expert Biome. So we have several fields of application like gut health, mental health, women's health, skin health, but also a range of populations that we are targeting with the several products we are developing, ranging from babies to elderly people. So before going to the conclusion of this presentation, I want to show you an example of what we are able to do. And I will take an internal example for confidentiality reason. So this product is Lacidophil. So Lacidophil is composed of two strains, Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Lactobacillus helveticus. This product is commercially available since 1995 with a pharmacovigilance program showing safe use. This product has been sold with more than 1 billion capsules, which is the equivalent of the treatment of 45 million patients. And this product is really backed by clinical trials with around 30 clinical trials. So why am I showing this example? I think it's really because this product is compliant with LBP specification. So I mean we have a full validated pharma manufacturing process. We have ICH stability monitoring program, and our manufacturing plant has been inspected by French Pharma Health Authority. So as a conclusion, I really think that with Sylvie, we demonstrate to you that we are embracing I would say the use of cutting-edge technologies, and that we couple that with our internal competencies, experience, whatever the type of strains is, including classical strains, but also next-generation strains. We have overcome a lot of challenges, including dealing with strict anaerobe strains. We have also improved the yield in terms of strains that are known to have really low production yield, and we have been able to keep this improved yield all over the scale-up. We have also been able to replace specific nutrients which were needed to be compliant with quality specification. We have also succeeded in decreasing the loss that we can have during downstream processing and formulation. And the last aspect that I want to mention is that we have really overcome specific challenges dealing with EPS formation, for example, aggregation, but also issues in terms of storage stabilities. So as a conclusion, we have really acquired a lot of experience, overcome a lot of challenges, and we are even more ready to support you within Expert Biome to accelerate the development of your strain. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any question, we will be with Sylvie on our booth, which is just near the main entrance. So thank you very much.